discussions regarding the auspicious month of Muharram. Tonight's topic is the Ahle Baith in the Quran Sharif plus the definition of the Ahle Baith. Regarding the Ahle Baith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself in Surah Ahzab, the last ruku of the 21st Sipara, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam a choice. So the famous ayat which is on the walls of the masjid belonging to this a certain group, you'll find this ayat on their walls, ayat-e-tathir. This ayat is given great importance because this ayat-e-tathir speaks about the Ahle Bayt. Where it comes? In the first page of the 22nd Sipara. But before we come to ayat-e-tathir, we need to see how the ruku began. The ruku began with ayat-e-takhir. Takhir means Allah gave Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam a choice. So before we come to ayat-e-tathir, let's look at the beginning of the ruku. When we look at the beginning of the ruku, Allah Ta'ala addressing Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul li azwajik in kuntunna turidna al-hayata ad-dunya wa zinataha fata'alayna umatti'ukunna wa usarrihkunna sarahan jamila. Check up this ayat yourself. I'll give you the approximate translation. You find the accurate translation. Allah Ta'ala in a nutshell is telling Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, tell your wives, if you intending the worldly life and its beauty, we will separate, you will be separated from us, from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. We will grant you the things of this world, and then we will give you a beautiful separation. You want the world, we'll give it to you, bhai. وَإِن كُنَّا تُرِيدْنَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. However, if you intend Allah Ta'ala and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the abode of the hereafter, then indeed Allah Ta'ala has prepared for those females who do good a great reward from amongst you. Who are the females? Who Allah Ta'ala is talking to? Who Allah is talking to? The wives of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That what happened here? Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam went to one of his wives, and all the other wives gathered, and they began putting a sort of pressure on Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam for their expenditure. Oh Nabi of Allah, we're getting a bit little, give us more, give us the whole year's allowance one time. Then we will work it out and manage it throughout the year. Give us the whole year's allowance one time. But that's not how it works. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam wasn't happy with this. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam separated himself from his wives. Right? Sahaba got very worried. They began crying in Masjidun Nabawi. This whole incident, you'll find it in Fazail Sadaqat. You'll find it in Sirat Mustafa and various other kitabs of history regarding this, which prompted the revelation of these ayat. So Allah Ta'ala gave Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam this choice towards the end of the month, that if you want, give them. That if they want the things of this world, we'll give it all to them. But they will have it and they will not have Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam went to every wife and he gave them, I'm giving you this choice. This choice is coming from Allah Ta'ala. You want me and Allah Ta'ala and the Akhirat, or you want the things of this world? So all the wives began choosing, no, we choose you, O Rasulullah. No, we choose you. When he came to Hazrat Aisha, his most beloved wife, he says, I'm going to tell you something. This shows the extreme love that he had for our mother, the mother of the believers, Bibi Aisha radiallahu anha. Before telling her, he tells her, I'm going to tell you something, but before answering, don't be hasty to answer. I want you to consult your parents. You're young now. You're young. All the other wives are much elder than you. You are a little young, you must consult your parents. Don't answer just like that. When she heard that, she said, what is there to ask my parents about? Obviously, I'll choose you. Obviously, I'll choose you. So, respected brothers, Ya Nisa'an, the next verse, Ya Nisa'an Nabi, may ya'ti min kunna bifahishatin mubin. O wives of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, whoever from amongst you has to do a clear, shameless deed, then your punishment will be doubled. And that's very easy upon Allah. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى اللَّهِ يَسِيرًا. Last verse of 21st para, very easy for Allah, will double your punishment. On the other hand, who's contempt from amongst you? Who Allah is talking to? Tell me who Allah is talking to. The wives of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This whole ruku got to do with the wives. What happened? How did it start? It started by asking for allowance. Allah gave them a choice. They chose. Allah is mentioning, you want to be, you choose anything else, what will happen? You'll get double punishment. And if you are content with Allah, His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you do good deeds, what we'll do? We'll give you double reward. Nu'tiha ajraha marratain. We'll grant you reward double. And we have prepared for you a noble sustenance. Right? O wives of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why are we talking about double? Why Allah Ta'ala is talking? Double punishment, double reward. Because lastunnaka ahadim minan nisa. You are like no other woman in the world. You are the wives of who? The best of Allah's creation. Can you all be like anybody else? You all have been chosen to be in marriage with the best of Allah's creation. Lastunna ka ahadim minan nisa. You all can be like no other woman in the world. In ittaqaytunna. So long as you all adopt taqwa. فَلَا تَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ. Don't lower your voices. Meaning lower your voices. فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضُ وَقُلْنَ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. It mustn't happen that a person who's got a sickness in his heart becomes inclined towards that, but at the same time speak correctly. Now for the accurate translation, the Quran is here. Quran made easy. Look it up yourself. Allah is continuing. Who Allah is talking about? It's the same ruku. We're not talking about a different ruku. وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ. Oh, who are you talking to? Who Allah is talking to? The wives of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are not like no other woman. وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ. Remain within your homes. وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. Don't move around, roaming around, like the woman in the days gone by, in the days of ignorance, how they used to roam around. Don't roam around. You all must remain within your homes. That's your place. وَأَقِمْنَا الصَّلَاةِ. Establish salah in your house. وَآتِينَا الزَّكَاةِ. Gives zakat. وَأَطِيعْنَا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Obey Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why I'm telling you to do all this? Because I wish well for you. What Allah says, إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ. Allah is only intending to remove this filth from you. Ahle Baith, O family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. And Allah wants to thoroughly purify you. So who Allah is talking to? Wives. By them staying in the house and establishing and doing what they're supposed to, will they have ideas about allowance and money and what goes on in the rest of the world? No. So Allah wants to purify them. So this is what you do. And what will add to it? وَاذْكُرْنَ مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. Allah Ta'ala is specifying that, make mention of what has been recited to you within your homes from the verses of Allah Ta'ala and the Sunnah. Wal Hikmah refers to the Sunnah. So in other words, do ta'aleem in your homes. When you will read the Quraan and the Hadeeth in your homes, this is ta'aleem. Indeed, Allah Ta'ala is very kind and most informed. This is the more or less translation. So in this entire verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned a double punishment but a double reward. Now Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the wives of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what's coming their way? Double reward is coming their way. This is a ayat, these are verses which started with sternness but ended off with a privilege that you're not normal people. You all are got a very high status. It ended with a privilege. It ended with a perk. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood from these verses, this is a special virtue coming down, special excellence coming down from Allah Ta'ala upon his noble wives. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to extend that virtue to others. He called Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. He put him under the black shawl. He called Fatima radiallahu anha, Hazrat Hassan and Hazrat Hussein. And he said, Ya Allah, these are also my family. These are also my family. In other words, if you didn't read the entire ruku, what you will see, if you look at the hadith in isolation, what do you understand? You understand, Panjatan Pak, it's only these. But when you saw the whole ruku, who Allah's talking about, and now you look at the hadith, now it all makes sense. The virtue which came upon the wives, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted his daughter and son-in-law and grandchildren to also be part of that virtue. Now, this was the generosity of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we look at the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat, you will find peace and harmony. You will find peace and harmony because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his father-in-law, Hazrat Abu Bakr, the other father-in-law, Hazrat Umar, one son-in-law, Hazrat Uthman, other son-in-law, Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, all one big family, all part of the house. Imagine you in your house, somebody comes and he says, I'm inviting everybody in your house, not your son-in-law, not your daughter-in-law, or not your father-in-law. How would you take it? You'll take it nicely? You'll get offended. One day, one Sahabi, all the other Sahaba understood that if we have to send a gift to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we must send it when it is Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha's turn, because on that day Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is more happy than other days, because he loved Hazrat Aisha so much. So you want to send the gift to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam when it's Hazrat Aisha's turn, send your gift that time. This is what the Sahaba understood. For more details, refer to Sirat-e-Mustafa. One Sahabi, he noticed all these things, Aisha. So one day he came. Now they will invite according to their capacity. So he says, O Nabi of Allah, I'm inviting you home, but only you, not Hazrat Aisha. He said to him, then I'm not coming. Then I'm not coming. After a while, he said, okay, yes, let her come also. What I'm trying to show, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, if you look at the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat, you'll find muhabbat. You'll find muhabbat from every angle, from above the father-in-laws, from below the son-in-laws, all one home. You try to exclude one, what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said? If that's the case, I'm not coming. If that's the case, I'm not coming. This is what you find, that there was peace, there was harmony. Now, respected brothers and elders, the definition of the Ahle Baith is the people within. Now look at the generosity of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He didn't just regard his father-in-laws and his son-in-laws and his grandchildren as part of his household. Salman Farsi, who's he part of? The Ansar said he's part of us. The Muhajirin said he's part of us. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he's part of me. This shows you the generosity of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Ansar say that Hazrat Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu frequented the house of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam so much that we thought he was part of the household. The understanding of the household of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so open and not restricted to 5. When you look in the hadith, when you look at the Quran, then you will find this warmth, this generosity and openness But when you look at other people's way of Islam, that from the beginning, from the root, people were conniving, trying to get rid, trying to kill. As Aisha poisoned Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Hazrat Fatima was kicked in her stomach, and this happened. All you see is violence, fighting for one garden, fighting for this, fighting for position, fighting for khilaf. That is the kind of Islam which others see as from inception. But when you look in the Quran and Hadith, you see absolute beauty, harmony, unity. And this is the majority of the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jamaat. When it came to Ahle Baith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was very generous. All of these are my family. All of these are my family. Everybody is my family. But when you look elsewhere, then you will find only 5, the rest murtad. Only 5, the rest are written off. Only this, the rest are rights off. Restriction, narrowness, you find that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. They are people who, and you will find majority, just to conclude, you will find majority of people who are making big noises. Those majority of people who are making a big who and a ha, they are not ulama by qualification. For example, there's one person, the way he's quoting Muslim Sharif in this hadith, in that hadith, and who is he? He is an engineer. He'll give you an impression that this Sahabi said this and this is what happened, and all twisted, absolutely twisted. You looking, you can't prove anything. You listen to him, you'll say, no, he's right. But you open that same kitab and you try looking for it, you won't find it there. Just simple. The person who's speaking, majority of them are not ulama themselves. And those who are listening to it can't verify anything themselves. So as we said, you're going to keep listening to false narrations, you will eventually believe that is the correct way. Now when you listen to the correct things, you'll doubt it. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed is king. Person doesn't know, then everybody will rely on the person who can see very little bit of what's happening there. There's so many other examples to illustrate this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to read authentic kitabs, and we made reference to Quran made easy, we made reference to Sirat Mustafa, an excellent read by Mona Idris Khan Delvi. Allah ta'ala give us all tawfiq. Any questions? Subhanallah.